right, welcome everyone to episode 3 of the Kota Capper College Football Central Show presented by the Kota Sports Gambling Network. We just had a crazy week 1. We had people with boots on the ground. We had a lot of crazy games happen, a lot of trash talk maybe that might happen later on in the show. I don't know. We'll see. But we got a great show ahead. Snake draft again, a 5-round, 5-person snake draft this time. So 25 picks we're giving to you people because that's how much we care about you at the Kota Sports Gambling Network. My name is Kyle Comas, and joining me, we have the co-host of the Gabacho Baracho Soccer Podcast and an avid Husker fan. We got Mr. Corey Adair. We got the co-host of the Gabacho Baracho Soccer Podcast and an avid Hawkeye fan. We got Mr. Thomas Miller. We got the other co-host of the Gabacho Baracho Soccer Podcast and is a Hawaii living man and a hockey fan. That is Dan Angel. And we got the host of the Play Me or Fade Me podcast at the network. We got Mr. Action Junkie. Fellas, week 1 in the books. Week 2 is upon us. How are we feeling? What are the vibes like?
Better than Dabo Swinney.
That was embarrassing.
I mean, Clemson might seriously be cooked already.
Thomas, Duke money line, am I right?
Like the way they lost that game. I mean, they looked good statistically, but 2 fumbles inside the 1, 2 missed field goals, and they just were not a better athletic team than Duke. And credit to Duke for the improvement they've made in the program. But Clemson has dominated the ACC for so long, and now they look like just another team. And I think a large part of it is because Dabo refuses to use the transfer portal, and it's catching up because Florida State, when they want somebody, they go out and get them. And Dabo just recruits and waits. Mike Norvell isn't doing
that. Yep. Clemson's touchdown was a Duke mistake.
Yeah.
Too. It was you just watch the game back. Complete domination by Duke. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. I did pick Duke as the upset of the week, but I never really thought that what we saw would actually happen. I mean, it was just complete domination by Duke. Duke didn't look that great, even, to be honest. Clemson's just bad. It looks like.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see how important Brent Venables was to that coaching staff, to be perfectly honest. I think you're starting to see that Dabo Swinney struck gold pre-transfer portal with his recruiting classes and development and how much that coaching staff meant to him. And now that he has lost integral parts of that coaching staff and hasn't embraced the transfer portal, I think you're starting to see the downfall of Dabo.
Yeah, agreed. Action, how you doing? Any thoughts about what we're talking about? Anything you want to talk about?
Well, congrats to Thomas on nailing that. Plus, he also won our week 1 challenge. So, I'm all hail to Thomas. That's what I'll say there. But, as you talk about Clemson, it's tough to maintain. And I think we're seeing that you lose assistant coaches, you become the hunted instead of the hunter. And I think it's catching up to Clemson, and they could be on the down cycle now. And I think Florida State's coming back to the power in the ACC.
I hope so, because I've been big on Florida State, and I'd look like an idiot if they didn't become big in the ACC. But I think you got to give a little bit of credit to Duke, though. Riley Leonard is a really, really solid quarterback, and people thought he was solid last year because their schedule wasn't that great and stuff like that. He proved they played a really solid Clemson team. I know they didn't look that way. That Clemson team is still going to be very solid down the road, and he just proved that he can play a really good team and be good as well. So I think people are kind of sleeping on Riley Leonard a little bit.
Yeah, no, Duke has certainly made some big strides, and Duke didn't even play well last night and still won fairly comfortably. So Duke certainly looks like it could be a sleeper team in the ACC at this point. But at the same time, Clemson just couldn't get out of its own way. It shot itself in the foot isn't really the right word, but they just could not get out of their own way all night.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, is this even the biggest storyline out of the weekend, though?
I don't think so.
Prime time.
And yes, absolutely. We got a lot to talk about, fellas. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Before we do, though, luckily, this kind of transitioned to my trivia question for a little bit because the Duke Clemson game actually inspired trivia question of the week. If you can believe that. So before we do that, let me get my ad read pulled up here. There we go. This is great. This is great content here. Okay. So trivia question for this week is this. Again, it was inspired by the Duke Clemson game yesterday. So I saw that Duke was a 12.5-point underdog, not really came back, but they ended up winning the game. So I was curious about that, about like an underdog winning, which inspired the trivia question. So the biggest underdog to win outright was Howard in 2017. They were a 45.5-point underdog. Who was the team they defeated in the Mountain West? So that's the trivia question for this week. Howard was a 45.5-point underdog in 2017 and defeated what Mountain West team? So that is the trivia question. I'll let you guys think about this while I do our ad read. The Kota Capra College Football Central show and the Kota Capra College Football Central show and the Kota Sports Gaming Network is sponsored by Better Edge. Better Edge is a social betting marketplace that's legal in 45 different states and operates like a marketplace. How does operating like a marketplace work? I'll give you an example. Let's talk Alabama, Texas this weekend. One person on the platform likes Alabama money line, places $10 on that line. Another person on the platform likes Texas money line and places $10 on that line. Boom. You now got an exchange because it's a person to person, not a person to sportsbook, which makes it legal in 45 different states. Now, most sportsbooks, when you have spreads and over-unders, they can be various different lines, but at Better Edge, it's always -100, +100. It gives a higher payback to the users. They also have competitions such as Battle Royale, Survivor, Chaser, all kinds of competitions to keep things competitive for the users. And a thing that I really like about it is it incorporates social media. People can post their picks on like a memo. Their followers can see it. Their followers can either follow or fade their picks. So Action, I know you're really big on Better Edge. We've talked about that before. I know you're one of the more active ones of the network on Better Edge. What are your overall thoughts about the platform?
Absolutely love it. And when football returned here, I don't think I've had a bet not filled in college football so far. There's a lot of action on the network, and some of those marquee games, I would say LSU and Florida State, about 2 hours before kickoff, there may have been 200 open orders and $50,000 available in the market. You could get, both sides of the equation without a problem. So it's a great platform, especially when it comes to football season.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself. Go to their website, www.betteredge.com. Use promo code Kyle, use promo code Corey, promo code Thomas, Play Me. Any of those promo codes, you get $20 added to your account upon your first deposit. Again, www.betteredge.com and use any of those promo codes we just mentioned. All right, gentlemen, so the trivia question for this week, the biggest upset betting-wise in college football history was by Howard, who defeated what Mountain West team in 2017? Action, we'll start with you. Who do you think it is?
I was trying to cheat without using Google, and I couldn't even figure it out. So in 2017 in that conference, I'm thinking Fresno State may have been the king. So I'm going to go Fresno State.
Okay, sounds good. Dan, who do you think it is?
It was UNLV.
Okay. Thomas, who do you think it is?
UNLV.
He didn't know. He had no idea. Corey, who do you think it is?
Oh, without a doubt, I knew it was UNLV.
Okay, so I gave you two tough trivia questions. I guess this was an easy trivia question. UNLV was the team back in 2017. They lost 43-40. The star on Howard was actually Kalen Newton. If that sounds familiar, that is the brother of Cam Newton. He rushed for 190 yards and 2 TDs. He also scored the game-winning touchdown with a minute to go in the fourth quarter to win it for Howard. So, yeah. Corey and Thomas, did you know that before Dan said it? Or okay, I figured as much.
Nope. No, I was thinking Fresno too. It had to be Fresno or somebody good.
Who would you have guessed if Dan didn't go before you?
Yeah, Fresno, Colorado State, something like that. I mean,
Corey, who would you have guessed, just for my curiosity?
I was gonna guess Nevada.
Okay. So Dan, just going forward, you'll be the last one to answer trivia questions from now on.
Sensible.
Well, I always have Corey go last because Corey called me out last year because I accidentally had him go first like 3 or 4 times in a row. So I'm like, okay, Corey needs to go last a little bit more often. So I've been trying to have Corey go last, but
You can feel free to skip me going forward. I'm 0 for 3. I'm the only guy 0 for 3 on this podcast now.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that was fun. Let's really quick before we talk about week 2 and we get into our snake draft, let's talk about week 1. I know we talked about the big game of Duke, Florida State. Let's go to our week 1 highlights. So everyone here has brought something they like to the table. Maybe it might be a play, it might be a game, it might just be just an overall thought, just overall highlights of week 1. I know, Action, you kind of talked about it a little bit, so I'll start with you. What was something that really you really thought was a big thing to talk about for week 1?
Somebody else can talk about Coach Prime's win. I'm just going to talk about a blind betting trend. There was only one real profitable angle in week 1 and week 0, and that is that home dogs are now 9-5 against the spread, so hitting 64.3%. So that's a big takeaway. As I look to the week 2 card, I have a few road favorites, and I'm scratching my head a little bit because, once again, home dogs have done well so far.
Okay. Nope. Very good point. Corey, let's go to you. Week 1 highlights. What do you got?
I'll throw a little betting thing out there. Big Ten, traditional Big Ten offenses hitting unders worked really, really well with the new clock rule changes. I definitely was up just betting that trend in general. There was a couple that didn't work out very well. I'm looking at you, Purdue. That didn't go very well for me. But the rest of those Big Ten West style offenses, those unders all hit, and it was a lot of fun watching those. And then, of course, Thursday night, that catch, I mean, already nominated catch of the year. I don't know how you get much better than that. That was a spectacular play for them to come back. I still can't get over how he kept that right foot up.
And what a horrible pass that was, too, for him to even make that catch.
Yeah, it was a spectacular play. Can't even be mad about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thomas, we'll go to you. Week 1, what do you got?
Looking at Big Ten West, terrible Big Ten West again. 3 teams lost, I think. 4 teams won. I mean, really only Wisconsin kind of in the second half looked all right. Big Ten West terrible once again. And I just want to mention too that been seeing a lot of the 3-3-5 defense on a lot of teams, and it can look really good at times, like Nebraska, for example, like when you have like a offense that is in tight or whatever, you got a bunch of speed running around and a bunch of guys blowing guys up. But like once you get spread out, and because it's become some sort of trend to run this 3-3-5, you get spread out and you just like run the ball up the middle. I hate this defense. I do not want to see it anymore. But I mean, that's going to be kind of like the trend that I'm going to watch. Like there a lot of teams running this 3-3-5. They get spread out. You can just run it against them at any point. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you often see a 3-3-5 defense against a team that likes to pass a lot. I feel like they might change things up if you play like a run-heavy team like an Iowa, for example. But Cade McNamara had 29 pass attempts, Thomas. We wouldn't see that with Spencer Petras.
No, absolutely not. But I'll say like Nebraska against Minnesota in 3-3-5, they look talented and running around and smashing dudes. But then we watched 3-3-5 against Oregon State, San Jose State, and like it's just spread out. You can't stop the run. You cannot stop the run if you're all spread out. You got 3 linemen and 3 linebackers. I mean, it's just I have no idea why this became like a trend, and I think it's just going to see defenses getting shredded constantly.
I think the key in what you're trying to get at there is the quality of the interior linemen. Those 3 down linemen, depending on, the inside guy, the nose tackle, and the ends, depending on how, frame and athletic ability, that is what determines if you're going to be able to run it or not. I don't have much faith in whoever played Oregon State and their down linemen, but Nebraska was average.
That was San Jose State.
San Jose State.
Yeah, I mean, were they the ones that played USC the week before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that defense, it's just not a good defense. But you look at Nebraska's defense; they average 6'5", 310 pounds across those 3 down linemen.
Yeah,
So,
but you spread out some 6'5", 330-pound linemen. What are you gonna get? You're
guys
gonna get
double team.
shredded hardcore.
I mean, Minnesota ran shotgun 3-4 wide receivers the entire time, and every time they tried,
They were packed in. They were packed in. They had tight ends. So we'll
They
get
were
into it. We'll get into it. Colorado's gonna fuck them up. We'll get into it.
not on the ground, they're not.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
Dan,
They'll do everything they want.
Dan, week 1, what really stood out to you?
Northern Illinois, with a really nice showing against Boston College. Rocky Lombardi looks like he's fully healthy, and I honestly don't know why Boston College was giving almost 10 points in that game. Like, that was a pretty easy one. I didn't expect NIU to actually win the game, but I thought for sure they'd keep it within a possession, and they did exactly that. They looked really good, like a team that has been there before, because they have. They just got beat up last year injury-wise.
I thought Northern Illinois was going to win the game, Dan. I had them as my upset of the week.
Well, good work.
Yeah, me and Thomas know what we're talking about with this upset of the week thing. Okay, none of you guys want to talk about it. I'll talk about it. TCU Colorado was the best game of the weekend by far. That was so freaking fun to watch. You know, Shadur Sanders was unreal. 510 passing yards, a Colorado record, 5 touchdowns, 4 receivers with 100 yards or more. Travis Hunter, as Coach Prime would say, is him. He had 129 snaps. He played offense and defense. He had an offensive touchdown and a defensive INT. But defense is going to be a massive problem. And I think this is something Nebraska could very well take advantage of in this next game. But I think it'd be foolish to say that the turnaround isn't slowly beginning if Deion can continue this winning trend and so on and so forth. But I don't know. That game, we watched a ton of games in Kansas City this week, and that was a ton of fun. I enjoyed that, by the way. But we had a ton of fun. We watched a lot of games. TCU Colorado was by far and away the best game of this week, and that was super, super fun to watch.
Does anyone else have Bo Pelini LSU defense vibes with TCU?
What, the first time around or second time around?
When Mississippi State absolutely shredded LSU's defense in Mike Leach's first game, and everybody's thinking, oh yeah, the Mississippi State's going to dominate, and then Kentucky holds Mississippi State to 2 points like 2 weeks later. Like,
that's the second time around, and yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm still not buying Colorado. Like, I think it's more of an indictment on TCU than it is that the Buffaloes are really good.
Well, we're talking about a defense that ranked 91st in the country last year and returned 1 start.
I know.
And how impressive is it that Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball, 121 snaps, stuff like that? They interviewed him afterwards and wasn't that tired.
We'll see how he does when he does that at 4,200 feet.
Yeah.
That's actually one storyline I'm very, very excited to watch is the Travis Hunter snap count when he plays in Boulder. I am very curious. I really do want to see what that conditioning looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he will or won't play X amount of snaps. It's going to be a lot harder at that elevation. So I'm interested. That's something I'm going to be watching for.
Yeah, it'll be fun for sure. But and I think one other game we kind of have to talk about since none of us brought it up. Florida State LSU Sunday night lived up to the hype for 3 quarters. Then the fourth quarter, LSU started to kind of go away with it. I don't know that someone on this panel had Jordan Travis as his lock for the Heisman, and that's looking kind of good right now. He kind of torched up that LSU defense. Had some bad decisions in the first half. I will give him that. He had some bad decisions. Jaden Daniels, I think it would be foolish again to not kind of have him in the conversation for the Heisman. He looked very, very solid yesterday. And I don't think this is going to be the end of LSU. I see them still going on to win 8-9 games this year. That's still a very, very talented team. But that game lived up to the hype, but it was nowhere near Colorado TCU.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit, Florida State has kind of fit that mold of some of the traditional powers that have kind of fallen off, and it's I need to see it to believe it type of mentality. Without Jameis Winston, when has Florida State really been Florida State that like they were with Bobby Bowden? It always seems like they get a bunch of hype and then they fall short of it. So I kind of had that mentality going into the season, and I was dead wrong. That Florida State team looks really, really good.
Yep. The second half, Florida State second half, maybe one of the most impressive performances we've seen in a long time. Like it's hard not to be on that bandwagon at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up a field goal and then they gave up that really late touchdown. But otherwise, I mean, it was just all Florida State that second half.
Yeah. All backups. It was like a second team defense when they got the touchdown too. I mean,
True.
they were absolutely dominating. It really makes it interesting to like match them up against SEC school, Georgia or Alabama or whatever. It's gonna be a hell of a game.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, really quick before we move on to our week 2 snake draft. Dan, are you still doing the computer this year in Hawaii or?
Yeah, I'm still updating it. I mean, this was its first week, so there were no standings because it doesn't know anything about these teams yet. But yeah, I still have it updated.
Sure. And like Action, I don't know if he knows about the computer. Maybe the people at home don't know about it. Can you just give like a quick synopsis on when I say the computer and stuff like that, what I'm talking about?
So yeah, basically I have a computer rating system that tracks every team in FBS and FCS, and basically tracks how they do each week, and adjust their ratings based on their results. Like basically, if you beat the computer, your number goes up. If you fall short, then your number drops and can drop drastically. Like Baylor, for example, took a really big hit losing to Texas State.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's get into our week 2 snake draft. Again, really quick rundown how it works. This is a brand new format. Like I said, last year, what we used to do, and the year before that, we do 8 to 10 games. We talk about all of us would kind of have the same sort of play. We might have a little banter and so on and so forth, but it got really repetitive. The games got kind of long. The prep kind of got a little bit too daunting. So we decided to do a snake draft. And what we're doing is a betting snake draft. So it's 5 rounds with 5 people. So that's 25 picks we're giving out. Everybody on the panel must have a spread, a money line. A money line, if it is a favorite, can be no more than minus 300, and over under, a first half total, and a team total. And what makes it more strategic is the higher the round you take them, the higher the units it is. So for example, if you take your team in your first round pick is worth 5 units in the contest. The second round is worth 4, third round 3, fourth round 2, fifth round is worth 1. So there's a lot of strategy to it. And the possibilities are endless when it comes to this because we all have different betting styles. But really quick, we'll go through the standings for week 1. Action did kind of mention earlier, Thomas was dominant in that first week, finishing in the top. 3-2 plus 3.73 units, his first snake draft win of the year. Action came in second with a 3-2 minus 2.42 record. I came in second with a 3-2 minus 3.6 record. And Beast came in fourth with a 2-3 minus 5.57 units, record. So that's kind of how we did the snake draft. Again, snake draft order was decided to be a wheel. And the order for this week's snake draft is going to go Corey number 1, myself 2, Action 3, Dan 4, and Thomas will be 5. And then again, like a snake draft, Thomas will start the second round and we'll go in reverse order all the way until we get to the very last pick. But yeah, we're going to be giving out 25 different plays for you guys. And I think we're all ready to roll, see if we got any picks taken. And yeah, if we're ready to go, Corey, you have pick number 1 overall. Who are you going here?
Doesn't he have to sing the Minnesota Rouser before we start?
Oh,
no, I don't know. No, actually, I do know the Minnesota Rouser because it was the fight song for my high school. I just don't know the words to the Minnesota version.
Okay. I just wanted to get out there.
Yeah. I'll we'll get to that at some point this year. You go ahead and beat Iowa, and then I'll do it out of joy.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so I'm going to be looking at the 2022 Week 2 Sickos Committee Game of the Year. That would be the Iowa State battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy, and I'm going under 36.5 points. It's the only line that I'm willing to put 5 units on this week. And I don't really need to. What was the score last year? 9-6, 9-7,
10-7.
10-7. Yeah, par for the course. Let's go. And then, Iowa's offense didn't really show that they can light it up against a defense that's going to be lesser than Iowa State's. And Iowa State scored 30 against UNI, and Iowa's defense is not UNI. I mean, it's going to be 14-10, 17-14 at max. I mean, this is going under 36.5, and it's such a low number. It's so gross. If Nebraska wasn't playing Colorado with the narratives going on this week, it'd be Sicko's committee game of the year again.
Okay. Sounds good. No, but I like that, Corey, and actually had that myself. So you took kind of what I was thinking about taking here. So I'm gonna have to pivot. But I like it. Iowa put up 24 against Utah State, and me and Thomas will tell you after the first quarter, there's nothing new with Iowa's offense. It's the same old crap every year and stuff like that. We got a touchdown right off the bat because Utah State's defender fell.
Yep.
And people are saying, "Oh, Iowa's offense is back." No, it's not back. We still have Brian Ferentz as our coach. McNamara is a massive step up from Spencer Petras, but we're not going to be scoring a lot of points this year. So I like that play.
What absolutely kills me is you've got a pretty solid running back in Caleb Williams, and you don't use Utah State as an opportunity to get that offensive line to gel. I mean, there was a really big struggle for them to run the ball consistently for more than 3.5 yards per carry last year. And they have this perfect opportunity with Utah State to get that zone blocking scheme in unison and gelling. And instead, they decide to show their shiny new toy in Cade. I think it would have been a bigger benefit for the long term of the season if they would have just figured out a way to run the ball for 150 yards. Yeah. And now they have to try to do that against Iowa State, who's coming with way more juice than Utah State is.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. I'm up now. So since that pick got taken from me, I'm going to go with another pick that I'm also willing to put 5 units on. I'm going to go to the spread pick. I'm going to take Utah -6 against Baylor. I'm not sure if anyone missed it, but Baylor lost to Texas State last week. And they didn't just lose to Texas State. They give up 42 points to Texas State. Now, do I think Baylor's going to play as bad next week as they did last week? Probably not. But Utah is miles and bounds better than Texas State. They looked really solid against Florida last week. I'm not sure of the status of Rising, if he's going to play or not. But Barnes looks super solid nonetheless. And is it insane to think they're going to win by a touchdown here? I don't think so. So I like Utah a lot against Baylor this week. And I'm going to take them -6 for my first round pick.
I think that's a good play.
Yeah, I threw that in the group chat on Sunday. I think that's a great play.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So we got 2 pretty solid picks back to back. Action, we're going to go to you now with your first round pick.
I almost used my challenge flag on that one, Kyle. I could get Baylor at +7.5, and I'm intrigued by that. So we'll talk some trash later about that game.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go money line here, and I'll take the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Right.
I actually went. I once lived in Mason City, Iowa. I went to the smartest guy I knew in Iowa. He's called the Little Leprechaun. He's like 4'10", knows more about Iowa sports than anyone I've met, and he told me this is going to be 27-17. So I'm going to believe the guy, and I like revenge spots, so I'm going to go Hawkeyes.
I've never heard of the Little Leprechaun. That's news to me. What's the line or the juice on that action?
I'm at -185.
Okay. I have a joke that I want to use off air that Corey and Thomas might enjoy, so I'll save that for off air though. Okay. Sounds good. Dan, we'll go to you with your first round pick. I like that pick, by the way. Action.
All right. So, figured out how risky you want to be this early, but I think I'm going with an underplay here, and I'm going to throw out the under for Texas A&M and Miami. And let's see, I think I'm actually going to do first half under. So let's see, the total for the full game is 51.5. So that means the first half will probably be like 25.5. And these teams played out a 17-9 game last year. They both have 10 starters back on defense. It's probably going to be pretty disgusting weather-wise in South Florida, and it's not really going to be much of a crowd because Miami just doesn't show up. So, yeah, I'm going to lean toward a first half under, especially with Texas A&M keep ground. So, yeah, I like that play.
Yeah, I actually really like that too. Again, another pick that got taken from me because I think that it's been talked a lot by a number of different podcasts I listened to that this game could determine both these teams' seasons. The team that wins could have a high going on for a long, long time because they're kind of mediocre, whereas the other team, they lose this game, they're kind of going to be on a downward spiral the rest of the year. So this game could be very, very close and very low scoring. So I like that play a lot, Dan. Do you know what the juice is on that first half total by chance, just for my record keeping?
I mean, I'm guessing it's probably on the plus 100 on the everything better edge seems to have is.
Okay, yeah, and they don't have first half totals, but I can see it being close to that anyways, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas, we'll go to you with your first round pick.
All right, so on our money line picks, I need to ask something. Is it 5 units times whatever the number is?
Right. Yep. It's not 2 win. It's just straight 5 units.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going down on my list. I'm gonna take UTEP money line minus 120.
Dang it.
And Northwestern. I'm gonna fade Northwestern until they show me something else. Like, they're horrible. I sat there on Sunday morning and I watched a lot of that game, Rutgers and freaking Northwestern, and Northwestern is terrible, man. Like, so I'm gonna fade Northwestern until they prove me wrong. So I'll take UTEP minus 120 on the money line. On that one.
I think you guys have a copy of my copy of my notes here, because that's crazy. I was so looking forward to taking that in the second round.
Yeah. Am I spread?
Yeah, Northwestern gave up 28 points to Rutgers.
Yeah.
That says it all what this Northwestern team is going to be.
It could have been worse. Northwestern, they can't do anything offensively. They got I forget his name, but he came from a pretty solid college. Who's their quarterback? Dan? Maybe? It's I forget his name, but I mean, he's a good quarterback, but
yeah, he's from Ole Miss, isn't he?
Yeah,
no,
maybe Ole Miss.
It's Ben Bryant from Eastern.
Ben Bryant from Cincinnati, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, he was starting at Cincinnati at the start of the season last year, but I mean, they're just terrible. Like, they have nobody else around him. And then
it spelled like Hub of the MAC because there's an Eastern Michigan instead of Cincinnati.
Yeah. And then first pick of the second round,
4 unit plays.
4 unit play. I'm gonna do Colorado -3. I think it's really undervalued. Like, what they showed against TCU, I think TCU is a million times better than Nebraska, and now Colorado's at home. For some reason, it's only -3. I really think Colorado is going to put it to Nebraska. I think Nebraska's not going to be bad by the end of the year. I think they'll be a very solid team by the end of the year, but I still think they're figuring things out, and they're going to get stomped in this game. Absolutely.
Challenge. Okay, let's do it.
So you're telling me that a game that's getting 80% of the bets put on one team and 90% of the money put on that team without any line movement in over 24 hours, that the play is to go with the money?
The money, 3 points.
Follow
3
the
points.
money.
You're telling me Nebraska is better than TCU
this year? Yeah.
Based on what I saw, I kind of think they are.
No, they're not. They're not.
Completely discrediting a
TCU did
Minnesota
not
team
look
that's
good
won
at
9
all.
games the last 2 years.
Minnesota, they what did they show? A guy who can't throw the ball. He's gonna like
They, sh-
run
they
it
showed,
a little
they showed
bit.
they can actually they showed they can actually spell the word defense, which is more than you could say for TCU.
TCU will be solid. TCU will be solid on defense. You'll see.
Solid. They
And-
were ranked 91st in the country and they made a national championship.
Thomas, what are you
On
basing
God's
that
green
on?
earth says solid about that.
10 starters returning. I mean,
What? They do not have 10 starters returning.
yeah, they do, actually.
No, they
yeah, they
don't.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Wait, who are you
Okay, I'm
talking?
gonna pull this shit out of my ass too then.
I mean, TCU has 10 starters returning if you count both sides of the football.
hmm
Phil Steele, just for the record, has 7 starters returning on defense for TCU.
And
Just
3
to
on
split the
offense.
difference.
Seven almost is 10. And
And 3
Corey.
on offense, so 10 total.
okay, 10 total. Corey,
22.
Dan, listen to me. Nebraska's way worse than TCU. And
I don't buy
Colorado is gonna destroy Nebraska. They're gonna destroy it.
I don't buy it. I think Nebraska might win the game.
Nebraska will not win this game. What did Nebraska do against Minnesota that makes you think they would win this game?
Ran
They
the ball
actually
for almost
played
200
defense.
yards.
They actually tackled people.
Ran the ball for almost 200 yards against the top 10 rushing defense last year.
They ran the ball against Minnesota.
Minnesota was a top 10 rushing defense last year. TCU wasn't close to that. TCU ran the ball for 262 yards against Colorado. Nebraska is going to top 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think
kind of hard to
I think-
score when you don't have
I
the
think
ball.
people are overvaluing what Colorado did against a rebuilding TCU team. And I'm sorry, but in a game of Matt Rule versus Deion Sanders, if I had my life on the line, who I want coaching that game, give me Matt Rule times a billion.
My one big question.
If I had the athletes, Matt Rule. Okay, give me the athletes on Colorado versus the people on Nebraska.
The athletes on Colorado's perimeter on offense.
Yeah.
Okay, where else are these athletes at? Because their defense look like shit.
Their defense looks like shit. Okay, so they're gonna have 1 million points scored, and Nebraska's gonna keep up with that. You really think that? Jeff
Yeah,
Sims?
You really think that they're going to score 1 million points? They didn't.
Did you see
I
Jeff
think-
Sims throw the ball at all?
I
Like,
think
did
the
you
best
watch
play in
him
this
throw
game
the
is
ball?
over.
Did you see Colorado's defense? Did you watch Nebraska's defense?
Did you watch Jeff Sims throw the ball?
Did you not see them?
Did you watch Jeff Sims throw the ball?
Yeah.
Do you think he's a good throwing quarterback?
He's going to need to throw the ball?
Do you think he'll need to throw the Yes. Here's the thing,
Why?
Corey. Here's the thing, Dan. Colorado gonna fuck Nebraska up bad. You guys are gonna be crying. You both be crying together. Like Corey might need to fly to Hawaii.
What do
and cry.
I have on at stake in this?
I'm not saying Nebraska's going to win. I just think you're ridiculous for buying into it.
You don't think they're gonna win, but they're gonna lose by more than 3? It's -3, dude.
You're
Minus
saying
three.
they're going to
I
get
do.
destroyed. I'm saying they're not getting destroyed. I'm not saying.
I do
Dude,
think
my
Nebraska-
play was Colorado -3. So -3. So yeah, I think Nebraska might not win, but they'll keep it close. They'll keep it close. They'll keep it within 3.
What was
Corey,
the first
Corey,
fucking
Corey,
sentence you
hold
said
on,
after
hold on, hold on.
-3? That they're going to
-3. This is my play. This is my play, man. This is my play, bro.
Hey, time out. I like letting you guys cook, but we do have another show to do yet. Corey, I'll let you make one last point, though, if you want to make one last point. And then if anybody else has one last point to make, I'll let you do that. And then we got to move on.
I only threw the challenge flag because he said that they were going to get their asses kicked. That's why I threw the challenge flag.
Dude, my play is -3. You're like, oh, they're going to keep it close. They might not win, but they'll keep it close. So keeping it close is within 3. Huh? Is it?
I threw the challenge flag because you said they're going to get their asses kicked.
Dude, I said -3. My spread.
Me and Action were just sitting there smiling, just letting you guys cook.
That was fun. I wish I had a stronger opinion, but I feel horrible how Minnesota played last week, so I'm staying out of this thing. But Colorado and Nebraska, now my game of the week. I can't wait to watch it and recap this next week.
I just look forward to the contrast in styles. I think it's going to be really fun to see.
Okay, Dan, I don't know how you're going to be able to follow that up, but all you.
Well, for my next play, let's see. All right, I am going to go money line, and I am taking the East Carolina plus 145 at home against Marshall.
Okay.
I mean, Marshall did not look very impressive that first game against a middling Albany team, and East Carolina is very dangerous at home. So getting plus money on the Pirates in Greenville, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they had to come back on Albany.
Yeah, who I'm actually going to be seeing on Saturday.
Are they going out to Hawaii?
Yeah, they're going out to Hawaii.
That's quite a flight.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Sounds good. And you said plus 145 on that money line.
Plus 145 on ECU. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Action will go to you now.
You guys referenced this team earlier. I'm going to go Texas State and UTSA over the 65. Kyle and I got burned by the Roadrunners, obviously, at Houston. Not a ton of offense in that game, but Texas State is coached by a guy that used to be at Incarnate Word last year. They averaged 51.5 points per game. That game against Baylor, 42-31. It's the type of games I expect them to play all year. UTSA can be so much better offensively. That was just frustration city for us last week. I think this one's going to fly over the 65. It's a big number, but I'm going to play it.
That's probably
and UTSA and Texas State both proved that their defense just isn't very good. You want to talk about two bad defenses. That's what this is.
That's why I like the over.
That's a good play. All right. So I am going to go with every play of mine's got taken since I've been up. So I'm trying to pivot here. My apologies. What play do I like best? Okay, I'm going to go a team total here, and I'm going to take Kent State team total under 9.5 against Arkansas. Kent State might be the worst offense in the country. They're playing a solid Arkansas team, and I think that I don't see them getting double digits here. I think this is one of those classic, really high-scoring teams versus a really low-scoring team here, and I just don't think that they get to double digits here. They've proven so far this season that they really can't. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to go Kent State team total under 9.5, excuse me.
I don't have much to say about Kent State, so you're not getting a challenge out of me. Plus,
Okay.
I'm out of
Yeah, you used your challenge already.
0 starters back on offense, and they lost their coach. Yeah, Kent State's not very good this year.
Yeah. So, okay. Sounds good. And I forgot to get a line on that, so I will get what the line is on that and let you guys know. But Corey, we'll go to you now with your second round pick.
All right, so this is where I get the back-to-back.
You do get back-to-back. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing, and that is unders. I'm gonna try to make a name for myself this season with betting unders, and I'm going to take, even though he's back, our boy is back. Mr. Daniels for the KU Jayhawks is back, but I'm going to take the Illinois-Kansas under 56.5. I think that Illinois' play style.
You took an over-under already.
I can only take one over-under.
It's by category.
You can take a first half one.
Right, you can do a first half if you wanted to, but
okay, well let's.
you can only do one full game under and one first half.
Okay, all right. I will take Kansas team total under 30.5.
Okay.
It's minus 110.
I like that.
Sorry, minus 120. Minus 120.
30.5, you said at minus 120?
Yep.
Illinois' defense is solid. I like that too.
They didn't look as good last week, but I think that they'll bounce back. I think that was more of an aberration than the norm. And then I'm going to take the Ole Miss Tulane first half under.
You took okay. Yep.
First half under 33.5 for the first half, minus 110.
Under 33.5.
Love those plays, Corey, and I love the under philosophy you're going with this year.
I appreciate it.
It's almost as if he listened to you, action. All right. Well, we will keep her moving here. Again, so Corey used Kansas team total over for his 4-unit play, and Ole Miss Tulane under 33.5 first half for his 3-unit play. We are on to our 3-unit plays in the third round here. So I am up, and I am going to I kind of want to do it just because it's another big sicko game. And I'm going to go UTEP Northwestern under 37.5 full game. These offenses are so bad, man. These offenses are terrible. UTEP this season has scored 17 and 28 points per game. That 28 points was against Incarnate Word, and Northwestern scored 7 points on Rutgers. I mean, these offenses are just horrible. And this game, you guys remember South Dakota State and Iowa last year, 7-3. That's what this game could be. These offenses are horrible. I'm taking UTEP Northwestern under 37.5.
Incarnate Word's pretty good for an FCS school, but the point still holds.
Yeah. I guess that was the point I was more getting at, is it was an FCS school.
I know. It's a good FCS school, though.
I'll take your word for it. I know you know a little more on the FCS side than I do. Okay. Seems like everyone likes everyone's picks so far. We don't have any other challenges besides the one Corey threw, so we'll keep on moving. Action will go to you with your third round pick.
Right now, this feels like there's been a run on tight ends. All the unders are going off the board, so I better get one before we run out. I'll play a first half under here. It's James Madison and Virginia.
Love that.
JMU has an excellent defense. I think both teams are challenged offensively. I think we're going to watch some paint dry in the first half. When in doubt, play the first half under. I'll play the under 20.5, and I'm juiced at a -115.
Yep, I love that a lot, Action. Virginia got absolutely slapped by Tennessee too, so I think that James Madison is just gonna run all over them. Their running back was pretty solid in their last game too, so I like that a lot. Okay, we will move right along to Dan with his third round pick.
All right, I'm going to take North Carolina team total over 38 against Appalachian State. And the Mountaineers could not stop the Heels last year. I think the final score of that game was 63-61. This year, Carolina actually looks like it can play defense, but Drake May can still sling it. So Heels team total over looks really good to me.
If there's any indication, I know last year was last year, but if there's any indication about last year's UNC Appalachian State game to this year, that team total might hit in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah, UNC looked solid against a pretty solid South Carolina team, so that could very well go over too. So, okay, we will keep it moving now. Thomas, we go to you with your third round pick, your 3-unit play.
Okay.
I'd double down on another Colorado bet here, maybe team total or something.
Yeah. All right, let me go UCLA at San Diego State under 49 at -108. UCLA played, I believe, Coastal late on Saturday.
That did happen.
They got like 27, I think.
27-13.
27-13. San Diego State, as we all know, is a very good defensive team. So I really think under 49 is a good pick on this one. So yeah, I'm going full game total UCLA at San Diego State under 49.
Okay, nope, that's a good point. And I'm curious to see too, now that we're on the UCLA topic, if they're going to continue to like play like 2 QBs, or if they're going to kind of stick with the freshman they get. The freshman they got looked a lot better than the backup last year did. Like Dante Moore looked a lot better than Garbers. I'm curious if they
Yeah, that's a good point. And then also like who's UCLA coach? I forget his name.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly.
Yeah. I think anybody who comes out like talking about the new time rules, like you just know that their teams are going to be under teams like because yeah, just let the clock roll. A lot of running. All right.
Fourth round, 2-unit play starting up. Thomas will kick us off.
Okay. All right. I'm going Wake Forest over 34.5 team total versus Vandy. This game last year, it was like, I swear it was like 56-35 or something. Vandy can't stop anything. Wake Forest, we're all pretty familiar with their offense. Doesn't matter who's running the show. I mean, I know their quarterback went to Notre Dame, but I still think they got a very good offense. So I'm going to go Wake Forest over 34.5 versus Vandy.
What you got for juice on that?
I believe it was just 110.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of 34.5 is a lot of points though for that Wake Forest team, but who knows?
We'll see.
It's not so much I disagree with you that I want to throw a challenge flag, but we'll see. We'll see. And it's a 2-unit play for you too.
It's more fading Vandy, like
yeah.
They couldn't
The way
stop.
their defense looked against Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah,
And you're
absolutely.
right. They did score 45 on Vandy last year.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it was like 56-45 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Nope. Sounds good. The fade Vandy play is on for Thomas. So we will go to Dan now with his fourth round play.
All right. And I am going to go with Ohio and Florida Atlantic under 58.5. And I think Ohio is mostly going to keep the ball on the ground. There will be the occasional throw to Sam Wiglis, but other than that, I think the Bobcats are mostly going to run the football, and I think this clock mostly moves pretty quickly. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Good
I'm
pick.
like,
I like that play, Dan. Question on that. Any update on Rourke? Do you have any knowledge if he'll be back for Ohio or not at QB?
I do not know yet. I need to look that up.
Okay. This is one of the plays for my podcast that I have Florida Atlantic circled, but I'm kind of curious about his status. Any read on this game from a spread perspective at a 4.5, if you had to put you on the spot?
Yeah. I think given that Rourke is iffy, I'd probably lean toward the Owls, but I don't know for sure. Like if he does play, I would go with Bobcats, but I would probably stay away from the spread in this situation.
Who's FAU playing?
Ohio.
Go Casey Thompson.
5 TDs last week, right?
Yep.
Did Ohio play last week or did they have a bye since they played week 0?
They played Long Island last week.
Okay. What a quality team that is.
27-10.
Okay. Yeah, I love that under even more now that you said that.
Yeah.
27 points on Long Island. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Does anyone know Long Island's mascot?
Bobcat.
No, that's Ohio.
Oh, God.
Is it Islanders or something crazy like that?
It is a unique mascot.
No.
I should know this from college basketball betting.
Me
I bet
too.
on
I
it a
can't
couple
think of
times
it
last
either.
year.
They're the Sharks.
Sharks.
Yep. That sounds like an overseas basketball team mascot.
Yeah.
I was about to say iced teas. I didn't know.
That would be a cool. Ooh, we should start a college.
Oh Lord.
Can you imagine a college with me as president and Corey as the dean? Oh man, those kids will learn a thing or two. I tell you what.
You guys are either winning the national championship or getting the death penalty.
Yep. No in between.
More than likely the latter, for being honest.
No.
Yeah, probably.
Thankfully,
I mean-
Iowa doesn't have the death penalty, so Corey and I could be good.
No, I meant the college death penalty that SMU got in the 1980s.
Yeah, he meant the SMU version.
Oh, I thought. Oh
Oh.
no, I thought you were talking about the real death penalty.
No, God.
Like me,
No.
like me, like
You
me
guys
and
are-
Corey getting like the chair or something like that. I thought
Oh,
that's what you were
God,
talking.
that got really dark. Wow.
Yeah.
Dan, I was following you. I had them going to the ACC with SMU after the death penalty, so I was with you.
Okay, well, enough of that.
Yeah.
Action, go to you, 4th round pick.
I was going to take Iowa over 20.5 for the team total plus 100, but since I already have them for 5 units, I won't do that. I'm going to go Liberty over 32.5 taken on New Mexico State. I'm a big Jerry Kill guy, but the New Mexico State defense concerns me right now. They got, beat by UMass in that opener, who obviously I still don't think is that good a team. And then Western Illinois last week scored on 12 and 10 play drives, going 75 yards each in the first half. When I see defensive numbers like that, it concerns me. Pluses is a revenge spot for Liberty. They got beat 49-14 by New Mexico State at the end of last season. I think Liberty makes a strong statement, and they put up a nice total in this game against Jerry Kill's New Mexico State team.
Okay. Sounds good. And what did you say the juice on that action, or did I miss it?
We should be at I think I was at a 115 on that, minus 115 on that one.
Okay. Sounds good. For those of you at home that are wondering why I'm asking for the lines and stuff like that, I have like a little spreadsheet that keeps track of the plays and stuff like that for our record keeping and for our yearly totals. So, okay. Sounds good. So I'm up now. I'm going to use my money line play. Thomas took my money line play, which is why I am going to play it now. But it's a minus 173, which is why I'm playing it for 2 units. I at least get a little bit back. I'm taking Wisconsin money line over Washington State. And I'm also playing this because Corey used his challenge. So that worked out well for me. Although they started out slow against Buffalo, they did battle back and did it pretty handily. Everyone talks about Braylon Allen at running back. His backup, Ches Malusi, he got 151 yards and 2 TDs as well, with Braylon Allen having 141 yards and 2 TDs as well. Mordecai started out rough, but I think he'll bounce back against a pretty solid Pac-12 team and kind of get things going here a little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with Wisconsin money line against Washington State as my 2-unit play.
I like it. It's not a late game, which is like bad for Washington State. Like if it was a 9 or a 10 p.m. kickoff, I really like Washington State to kind of dominate that. But I think Wisconsin in a day game in the West Coast, I like them too.
Very good. Now, Thomas, you're not a Pac-12 after dark watcher. Would you be interested in walking a Big Ten after dark?
I would love to watch Big Ten after dark.
He did
The Big
last
Ten
year.
allows it.
I can't wait to watch Minnesota
Every
at
game here is
UCLA at 10 p.m. I can't wait for Minnesota at UCLA kickoff 10 p.m. where I see 3 minutes of it before I fall asleep.
Meanwhile,
Stay
over
up
here, Vanderbilt Wake 5 a.m.
Yeah, you waking up at 5 a.m. for the 11 o'clock slate, Dan, or not?
I mean, if it's good enough, I woke up at like 7:30 this past week.
So you caught the second half of TCU Colorado?
No, I was watching Northern Illinois.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Thomas, did you stay up for the Iowa game last year that got the rain delay or the lightning delay?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. It's Iowa. Come on.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. We were in Lincoln during that, weren't we, Corey?
Yep.
Yep, that's right. Okay, Corey.
I think I had the under in that game, and I had to sweat out whether they'd finish it or not so I could cash.
Yeah, I did too.
Did
Yeah.
the under hit? I can't remember.
Or no, I don't think it did.
I think they scored like a late touchdown to have the over go, if I remember correctly.
Which game was this?
Iowa, was it Nevada?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
I think
It
it's
was the
Iowa.
one
I think it was
It
Iowa,
was Nevada. I think so. It was
The
like
under-
40 to
the under
10.
hit.
27-0. Yep.
Yeah, the under
Yeah.
hit Nevada net.
Okay. Well,
Even
there you
for
have
Iowa,
it.
they don't set games in the 20s.
All right, so I guess is it my last two picks now?
Yep, you need a spread and a money line.
I need a spread and a money line.
Yep.
Ugh. All right. Let's see. This is my first time doing all this, so I kind of messed up and went all over unders. For my spread, which one did I have? I'm gonna take the first half spread for
You already have a
Miami.
first half play.
Oh, wait, that counts towards spreads versus over unders as well. It just has to be a straight spread.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been. Is that what you guys have been doing, just for my curiosity?
Yep. I follow the rules.
I think I've been doing full game spreads, and first half is different.
Okay. All right. Just give me a second then.
Okay.
Tulane.
Thomas in action. Corey's showing that he didn't watch our episode last week. That's sad.
Oh,
Yeah.
last week was pretty busy.
No,
That's why
you're
I wasn't-
you're good.
sorry.
I'm giving you crap.
Michigan.
Let's go. Saw one that I liked.
Iowa State.
Let's go Virginia Tech -3.
Okay, I like that.
I think Virginia Tech's defense is a little bit better than is going to be much better than what Fresno State's was, and I think I actually like the over more in that game, but I think Virginia Tech can win that by more than 3. The spread that I liked the most was the one taken in the first round. And then money line, it's what, 1 unit play in the 5th round, right?
Yep. So start the 1 unit plays.
Yeah, go Big Red.
All right. And what's the money line at?
Plus 136.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to throw a flag on that Purdue Virginia Tech one. I just don't think Virginia Tech is all that good.
Yeah.
I have to pick spread, Dan.
I know, but like I think Purdue covers and might actually win that outright. I mean, Virginia Tech has just gotten away from what they used to do to dominate. I mean, Corey, we've talked a lot about how Nebraska doesn't really recruit the areas where it dominated to get to as good as it was in the 90s. Virginia Tech has made that same mistake. And unlike Nebraska, Virginia Tech doesn't even have the excuse of having changed conferences. Like the way they built that program was they went hard into the Tidewater region where they got Michael Vick, several of those other guys, and they don't recruit that area anymore.
Well, and they could have gotten AI at quarterback out of that area too. I mean, there's a second excuse there that you're not talking about, and that's geographical excuse. Like Nebraska has the excuse of not being able to recruit in their backyard. Virginia Tech doesn't have that whatsoever.
Correct.
Correct. And then dominating defense, dominating special teams. We haven't seen that for a while, but I did like what I saw out of their defense last week, and that's why I kind of picked it.
Fair, but it was also Old Dominion.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think
Fresno State's a good team too. Like I
think
really
Fresno's a lot better than ODU.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if Purdue actually goes 0-2 to start the season. But like, I mean, I think it's a toss-up game for sure.
Yeah,
I don't hate the pick at all.
It's just a close enough spread, and I like Virginia Tech more in that game than I do Purdue. So I mean,
fair enough.
Get a push out of it. Hopefully, it's more than 3.
Just kind of hoping you guys are going to get rowdy again.
I don't have enough. I mean, I watched maybe 10 minutes of the Purdue game, and then I watched maybe 2 minutes of the Virginia Tech game. But I mean, I was keeping tabs on them because I had the Purdue under, and then somebody had made a play on Virginia Tech, so I was curious to see how they looked. So it's not like I'm crazy in depth and knowledge about one of the sides.
Okay.
Purdue definitely Purdue surprised me last week, though, so I'll give Dan that.
I'm just very low on Virginia Tech.
Well, I didn't think Purdue was going to be able to do much on offense at all, losing all that they lost, and they scored 34 on Fresno. So
yeah.
Okay. Sounds
yeah, and then okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're good. Sounds good. I was just gonna say I got a first half I need, and I'm going to take Nebraska, Colorado first half under 29.5. I can get that at -112 on DraftKings. Although week one, we're polar opposites for these two teams. It's a rivalry game. Throw those stats out the window. These two teams hate each other. These fan bases hate each other. I think it's going to get very chippy in the first half. Nebraska's defense, I think, could be solid with Colorado. I think Colorado could give Nebraska a little bit more than what they expect as well. So I think that at a minus 112, again, I'm doing this merely because it's a rivalry game. These two teams hate each other. I think rivalry games where teams hate each other more often than not ends up being low scoring. So I'm taking Nebraska, Colorado, first half under 29.5.
This could be just because you happen to watch a lot of Iowa State games.
Correct.
In your defense, Kyle, I can tell you that I have watched countless hours of this matchup, and the second half is always more scoring than the first half. This is a matchup where things kind of start out slow, teams are feeling each other out, and then especially in Boulder at altitude, the second half is when it opens up. The first half, it's pretty low scoring.
And with this new time clock situation too, just unders are the play.
Well, and if you look at the way Colorado played, they threw a lot of underneath passes in the first half. I think Nebraska's defense is going to be keen on keeping everything in front of them, so the clock's going to be running. And I think Nebraska is going to try to keep the ball away from them. I think if you see it open up, it's going to be in the second half, not the first half.
Yep, agreed.
I like it.
Yep. I think Nebraska's strategy has to be to keep the ball away from Colorado's offense. So I like it too.
And like Corey said, who knows how Travis Hunter will do on both sides of the ball in Colorado's altitude.
Yeah, I got a feeling that was so crazy down in Fort Worth because he gets to train at altitude like that. And then coming down to like a normal elevation made it a lot easier to go 120 snaps. I cannot wait to see what his snap count is.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Action. Looks like you need a spread for your 1 unit play.
Let's go Arizona plus the 10.5 at Mississippi State. Arizona's offense might be a little better than we think. Year 3 under Jed Fish. They have 8 starters back on offense. Mississippi State, somewhat in that look-ahead spot with LSU on deck, could be a spot where this game gets really dicey. Wouldn't be shocked to see Arizona leading this game in the fourth quarter. Mississippi State maybe wins it in the end, but I'll grab the 10.5 with the Wildcats.
I like that. I like their QB Jaden Delora as well, and I have no issues with that play at all. It's a good pick. Okay, we will go to Dan now. Dan, looks like you also need a spread.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with Jacksonville State plus 13 at Coastal Carolina. I think Rich Rodriguez has this program moving in the right direction, and Jacksonville State looks like they're making a nice transition up to FBS. I also don't think Coastal is as good as in past years outside of Grayson McCall. So I think this line is a little too high.
Yeah. And you always wonder with Grayson McCall too, if he was good because of the coach or if he's actually that good.
I still think he's pretty good. I just don't think the talent level around him is quite as good this year.
Yeah, and I and I guess I shouldn't have said it that way. I just think that the coach from last year really made him as good as he was, and then he left, and some of the talent went with him. But okay, nope, that sounds good. And Thomas, Mr. Irrelevant, looks like you need a first half total.
All right, between two.
Iowa and Iowa State, 0 points.
That would be a good pick. I didn't even think of putting it on there. I thought somebody would grab it before. All right. Okay. I'll go Notre Dame at NC State under 25.5 first half. I think it might be 24-0. I'm not sold on NC State at all. Notre Dame's been pretty solid. They won, I believe, 42-3 and 56-3, something like that. But I think in the first half, at NC State in Raleigh, hot and sweaty, I think under 25.5 is a good play.
Okay. Sounds good. And what did you get? And what did you get for juice on that, Thomas?
That is minus 110.
Minus 110. Okay.
About a couple bonus plays now that we're done.
Yeah. Let's throw out some honorable mentions if anybody has any.
All right. Stanford team total over 19.5 against USC.
Ooh, interesting.
I like how they look. I like that play a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took a team total under because I like taking unders more than I like taking overs, but I really like that Stanford team total over. I also thought I could take overs later. Otherwise, I probably would have played that instead of it, to be perfectly honest. I didn't realize team total was the category. I thought unders. Anyways, and then Notre Dame's team total over 29.5 for the game.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Sam Hartman's got that offense clicking, man.
Okay. Nope. I like those honorable mentions. Another honorable mention I had for first half, I have Texas, Alabama under 27.5. I think these are two talented teams that very well could go strength on strength. Their offenses are very good. Their defenses are very good. I could see that being low scoring as well. So I also like Texas, Alabama first half under 27.5. And the other play I had that didn't get taken was Ole Miss Tulane over 63.5. This is the complete opposite of UTEP Northwestern that I already played. These offenses are solid. They're going to score a lot of points. Spencer Sanders and Jackson Dart looked really solid last week. Michael Pratt, very solid against a really talented South Alabama team last week as well. I can see that game going over the 64 or the 63.5. Dan, Thomas, Action, do you guys have any honorable mentions that weren't mentioned?
Yeah, the one I was deciding between was Oregon at Texas Tech, first half over 32.5.
Okay.
Kinda. I mean, with the new clock rules, I could really see it being like 17-14 or 17-10, but at the same time, I could see it being like 21-20, something like that, like 45 points in the first half. So I was almost on that over right there. Oregon at Texas Tech.
Okay. Action, Dan, any honorable mentions at all? Or otherwise we can go through the teams really quick and get to upsets and locks.
Maryland 24.5 over Charlotte.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I love September, Maryland. Always do.
Yeah. And also, like, I know it's a ton of points, but Oklahoma SMU over
Yeah.
What's it at now?
68.5, but the Mustangs can't stop anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Kyle, you went the money line on this game, but I'm less than a touchdown. I'll lay the 6 with Wisconsin at Washington State.
Yeah. I think they win by a touchdown. So, okay, sounds good. Well, let's go through our teams really quick and talk about our teams, and then we'll get to upsets and locks and call her a day. Corey, your team, Iowa State under 36.5. Kansas team total under 30.5. Ole Miss Tulane first half under 33.5. Virginia Tech -3 and Nebraska money line. Overall thoughts on your team?
I like my chances.
All right. I like it. Sounds good. My team, I got Utah -6, Kent State team total under 9.5, UTEP Northwestern under 37.5, Wisconsin money line, and Nebraska Colorado first half under 29.5. Again, I'll keep it short and sweet. I got pretty much all the plays I wanted. I did get a few plays taken from me, but I like my chances, and I think this is could be a good week. And Action will go to you. You got Iowa money line, UTSA Texas State over 65, James Madison, Virginia first half under 20.5, Liberty team total over 30.5, and Arizona plus the 10.5. Overall thoughts on your team?
Unlike last week, I got my number one pick at every position this week, so I feel great. Much easier panel this week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Dan, you got Texas A&M, Miami first half. Did you have the over or the under? You had the under, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I had first half and I forgot to put over under. First half under 25.5. East Carolina money line. UNC team total over 38. Ohio, Florida Atlantic under 50.5. and Jacksonville State plus 13. What are your thoughts about your team?
I think it looks pretty solid. I like all my picks.
Okay. And Thomas, your team, you got UTEP money line, Colorado -3, UCLA, San Diego State under 49, Wake Forest team total over 34.5, and Notre Dame, North Carolina State, first half under 25.5. Overall thoughts on your team?
I like it a lot. Sorry for getting so upset about Colorado.
Don't ever apologize for content. None of you. That was me and Action were dying in the corners. Yep. Do not ever apologize. That was funny. We need more out of that out of you guys.
It's all right.
Now, I'll say this: I didn't throw a challenge flag this week. Last week I would have thrown 3. So I really like the cards everyone put together.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait till next week when Thomas is crying about under 59.5 hitting.
Under 59.5.
Well, yeah, you say there's going to be points left and right. Nobody's going to be able to stop Colorado's offense. Then
I didn't pick that shit, bro.
oh, team total under 31.5. I mean, I'm waiting.
I didn't pick that either.
I'm hitting every under.
Man, you need to pay attention to what I picked. I picked Colorado -3. That's all I did.
I hear these words, and the words say points, points, points.
Colorado will win by more than 3.
Points, points, points.
All right,
Colorado
let's go to upsets of the week and locks of the week to round out the show. So upset of the week, we'll start with that again. A flagship contest. You have to find an underdog of at least 7 points, and they have to win outright for you to get the point. We did have 2 winners last week. Thomas hit Duke over Clemson, and I hit Northern Illinois over Boston College. So we have one. Everyone else is still yet to get one. But again, week 1, a lot of weeks left. Let's go through our upsets of the week. Action, we'll start with you this week. What do you got for an upset?
I demand a half a point for last week. I mean, Toledo had the lead with a minute to go.
They did.
And they covered the number by ease. So, I mean, give me at least a little credit there. But nice job, guys. Upset of the week, I'll take Texas. Hook 'em horns.
Okay.
Plus the 235 at Alabama.
Texas
All right.
is back.
Sounds
Texas
good.
is back, says Mr. Action Junkie. Go ahead.
At least he didn't do the horns up when he did it. I like that. Dan, we'll go to you. What do you got for an upset of the week?
Oh boy. I got a real mess here. Let's see. I'm not liking any of these. If someone else has got one, you can go. I'm still trying to find a upset that I actually like.
Okay, Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what Dan's talking about is what I noticed too. I mean, you're either sitting at 7 points or below, and all the games that are at about 7 points, I do not like the upsets in any of them. Like, I don't think Tulane's beating Ole Miss. I don't like Texas. I'm sorry, Action. Well, there was a couple other ones. I don't like Baylor. Like all these 7.5 point spreads, I don't like any of them. So I'm gonna reach out a little bit further. Well, actually, it was the only other one that was in that category. I'm gonna take UAB over Georgia Southern. I don't know. That's the only one that I don't feel convinced that the favorite's going to win.
Okay.
Trent Dilfer, baby.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Dan, do you have one, or do you want us to come back to you again?
I mean, I'm not confident in it at all, but I'll take a shot in the dark. Sam Houston State over Air Force. They're
okay.
home. I mean, high emotions with it being their I'm pretty sure it's their FBS home opener. So why the hell not? It ain't gonna hit.
All right. Sounds good. Thomas, you and I both hit last week. I'll start with you. What do you got for your upset of the week?
I'll go with one. Corey lost over Tulane plus 7.5 at home versus Ole Miss. Tulane's a very good squad. Ole Miss, not 100% sold on them. So I mean, yeah, I'll take Tulane plus 7.5.
All right. Sounds good. And to wrap it up, I'm with you guys. I really struggled to find good upset this week. I think any of the ones that are 7 or greater probably won't cover. So I figured why not take another shot in the dark with a long upset. I'm going to take Troy over Kansas State as my upset of the week this week. The Sun Belt, they get a bad reputation every now and then. This Troy team's good, though. Gunnar Watson's back, was solid last week. Their running back, Kamani Baidal, had over 1,100 yards and 10 TDs. And they put up 48 points in their game last week. I think their defense can bounce back and surprise some people here and very well could pull off an upset. So I'm going to take Troy over Kansas State.
I was looking at that one, too. I like that one. Thomas, I'm surprised you didn't take your Minutemen.
It's coming. It's coming.
He's saving it for the box.
Saving it for the locks, bro.
All right, so let's transition now to Lock of the Week. Lock of the Week contest. Very, very simple. Your lock hits, you get a point. If it doesn't, you get a loss. Very easy, very simple. Current standings right now. Action, Thomas, and Corey are all 1-0. Me and Beast are 0-1. Dan is not rated because he did not give a play last week. So we will go to our locks of the week. Again, I kind of do inverse order of everybody. So since I'm 0-1, I'll start. It's my 5-unit play. I love it a lot. I'm taking Utah -6 as my lock of the week. I'm not convinced that Baylor can stay within a touchdown of them. And I don't believe in this Baylor team. I think Utah solid with or without Rising. If they do have Rising, I like that a lot. I will double check that line because I know some of you guys have it at 7.5. I will double check it, but I don't care regardless. I think they cover the number. So again, I'll look at it, but for now I'm taking Utah -6 against Baylor. And that's going to be my lock of the week.
Good pick.
Thank you. Dan, we'll go to you now. What is your lock of the week?
Central Florida -3.5 against Boise State.
Ooh.
This Boise State team is just not as good as past years.
Okay. We haven't even covered that game. That's all right. Sounds good. And we will continue to go to our guys that are 1-0. We will start with Thomas. Thomas, who do you have for your lock of the week?
As we mentioned a couple seconds ago, I'm going to take UMass +7. First, Miami, Ohio. I mean, I kind of sneaky like them for the money line as well. Miami, Ohio versus Miami, Florida. I know it's completely different defense, but I mean, they couldn't do anything at all. I sat there and watched that game. I believe I had an over. I think I had an over on that game. It was a Friday night game. It was terrible. Miami, Ohio is terrible. They're terrible, terrible, terrible. UMass, not that terrible. So +7 at home, give me UMass. That's a lock.
This is definitely a top 10 sickos committee matchup of the week.
Yeah. It'd be ugly. It'd be so ugly, but beautiful at the same time.
That screams under too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. Corey, we'll go to you now. What do you have for your lock of the week?
All right, so this is tentative. Well, the play is the lock. The play is the lock, but the number is tentative because it's going to keep moving. I believe it's going to keep moving. I'm going to go with the Nebraska-Colorado under. Right now it's at 59.5. I'm pretty sure the over is getting hammered, and I'm waiting until 10 minutes before kickoff before I play it. It could probably get up to like 61.5. I'm waiting, and then I'm going to hammer that under.
All right. Very good. Got a lot of things going on here for the Cornhuskers and Colorado game. I like it. And Action, we'll wrap it up with you. What do you got for your lock of the week?
Well, a couple things here. Number one, I don't like the fact Corey always knocks my Texas plays. Number two, he did not sing the Minnesota Rouser that was promised to me when the Gophers beat Nebraska. I had no interest in this football game, but now based on this conversation, and I think it's a letdown spot for Colorado, but I need action on this thing. I'll put Colorado as my lock of the week -3.
Oh.
I want to go head-to-head with Corey. Bring it on. I feel like I've been disrespected. And, I want Colorado big time here. I'm with Thomas. We're going to run up the score. We're going to make sure he loses his over-under bet, too. I want Colorado like 52-10.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like Coach Dion. I keep receipts, too, Corey. I'm looking at you.
Hey, man, I was off last week. I completely forgot that we even said we were going to do that, if I'm being perfectly honest. I owe you it. I will admit that. I am a man of my word. I will sing it. Like I said, I do know the beat. It is my high school's fight song. I just don't know the words. Give me a week and I'll learn the words.
Okay, I'll send you some videos. Okay.
And just for that, I really hope you lose that bet.
Row the boat. Row that boat, Corey.
Well, this week we got to go all buffs. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Well, gentlemen, this has been a hilarious episode. I have laughed a lot, more than I've laughed in a while.
God willing, West takes Colorado to the woodshed.
Okay, before we go, we should have some kind of contest now, because I have no interest in this game at all. So we should do Action and Thomas against Corey and Dan with some kind of punishment.
No, we shouldn't.
No, we should.
I didn't get paid out the first time. Why would I go double or nothing?
You're gonna get paid out is the point.
Okay.
Oh, I'm a man of my word. I again, I'll apologize again.
Well, we'll figure something out in the group chat, and if we decide to go with something, we'll let you viewers know. But gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. Great content all around. That'll do it for episode 3 of the Kota Capra College Football Central show. Tune in next week as we cover week 2 and do a snake draft for the week 3 games. See you, fellas.
Bye.